hello, and welcome to Joanne's Healing Within. I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, your certified holistic personal trainer, intuitive healer, cosmic energy reader, medical astrologer, master of numerology, and the creator of the Chakra Balance Numerology Cosmic Energy Forecast Deck. I do need to find a shorter word for that. And I'm also a mom and a wife. And in 2021, if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm here to help you see yourself as the best version of who you already are. So with all that being said, I'd like to remind you to share, like, and comment on today's show. As I do believe we do have a raffle giveaway for today's show. We have an amazing winner from last week's giveaway, which I'll announce later. And just share, like, and comment for that. Let's get all of the business out of the way because there's a lot of it today. To start off with, I want to give a big shout out to all my advertising sponsors that make this show run each week. There's a list. I have a long page of lists. We're going to start off today with Nick Rafter, who is our real estate agent. He's a journalist, writer, and editor. So if you're looking for that new home or an apartment, or you want to write that book, reach out to Nick Rafter. Then we have CJ Ives Lopez. She's the host of the Author's Porch. And you do want to connect with her. She's got this brilliant magazine that she's launching. First magazine's launching on July 15th. And thereafter, she's going to be looking for writers, advertisers, etc. So definitely reach out to CJ Ives Lopez. Kendrick Greer is our astrologer. And you all definitely want to connect with him. Get to find out what all the hype is about all of these retrogrades, everything that's going on in the cosmic world. If you haven't had a reading yet with Kendrick, I highly recommend that you do. Then we have Joel Monkman, who's our shamanic healer, practitioner, and wellness advocate. He was actually on the show last week. He did a follow-up based on the healing intuition work that he does. If you didn't catch it, please do go back and watch. You can catch it here on Strong Island Television or on Roku and YouTube as well. Then we have Natad Bradbury, who's the CEO of the Mystic Warrior Academy. And last but not least, Gail Nicholson, who is our resilience coach, metaphysical practitioner, and the host of the Three Crones and the Woo Woo. And believe it or not, she's our guest today, which I'll be talking more about in a little while. So now that we got mostly all the business out of the way, I'm going to just throw things off just a little bit because there is so much business to go on for today that I'm just going to mention one or two advertising flyers that we have going on, something new that I'm doing. So I just want to put that out there where we have an amazing event going on, a candlelight virtual for those who have lost loved ones due to COVID-19, taking place Saturday, July 10th, 7:30 p.m. There is a flyer. Feel free to view the flyer for more details and reach out to the host in reference to that event. Ian, let's talk about the cosmic energy soul readings. For those of you who are interested in getting a soul reading, I'm always hyping up Kendrick Greer for the astrology. You might want to get a soul reading, cosmic energy soul reading by me, which you get to find out what issues you need to deal with, what chakras you need to realign. So if that's something you're looking to dig into, feel free to reach out to me, healingwithin76@gmail.com. I'm going to save the other flyers for a little later. Let's dive into some of the energy that is going on today. Today's date, which is interesting. I was looking at the date before, I was writing it down. And today's the 27th of June. That number in itself, 27, we think about the partnerships, we think about taking time to reflect on our partnerships, but it adds out to a 9, which is all about how you can take this opportunity to reflect on your partnerships, whether it's professional or personally, and see how you can evolve in that relationship, in that contract, in your marriage for that matter. And when I use the word marriage, does not necessarily mean your intimate marriage. It could be what you're married to regarding your business as well. So that's just the day itself. Now, obviously, you know, we're in June, 6th month of the year. This entire month collectively is all about how we are healing ourselves. So my question to you is, How have you been healing? What are you healing? Are you healing mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, or all of the above? Hopefully you're healing something, because we're literally days away from this month being finished, this collective energy being done. And I'm hoping that you've done some sort of healing work to talk about at the end of this month. We also think about, when we talk about the sixth energy of the healer, the healing, it's also about our families and the karmic lessons. We all have karmic lessons to work through and push through. And the only way, from my perspective, to doing any type of karmic healing is through healing oneself. So that's the energy, the collective energy of June. Now let's talk about 2021, which is that 5 energy, collective energy, the change, the freedom, the fun, the adventure, but the unpredictability as well. And when you take this whole number and bring it all together, you get a chew. So what really comes down to is how we are healing, evolving, transforming, and changing our partnerships. Yes, 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 yes. I know it sounds like a lot, but that's the energy for today's day. So what I like to tap into for that is to see which one chakra you can actually work on today to really benefit, amplify the energy of this two, this partnership, the relationships, the contracts, the friendships, whatever it may be, personally or professionally. And I like to think, when we think about our professional relationships, if you're like me, my professional relationships become very friendly, because I'm just that type of person. I become friendly with my professional relationships. So when we think about our relationships, how friendly are you with your relationships, professionally speaking? So let's see. What chakra do we need to work on today so we can gain the benefits of this amazing, powerful partnership energy? I love it. The word rebirth. Perfect word, new tongue today. Perfect affirmation for today's energy. A rebirth in your partnerships. Whatever that partnership might look like, professionally and personally, and bring it all together. Let's combine it together. The chakra we want to work on is the heart. We want to have more compassion. We want to be more kind, and we want to be more loyal to these partnerships that we are engaged in. So a perfect opportunity to be reborn today. The number 2 and 1. So again, that 2 energy is about the partnerships, the relationships, the friendships, contracts, and what are you married to, and what can you let go of in that marriage? Not the traditional marriage, but the marriage of what we are all connecting to as we get endure into a rebirth. That 1, totally new, something brand new today. Works out to be a 3. So when we think about 3 energy, 3 is communication. There is nothing more intensified and important than communication. Without communication, you have absolutely nothing. If you do not know how to communicate, you will not get anywhere. You need to know how to communicate. You need to know how to communicate in reference to what you're saying, and you also need to know how to communicate in what you're listening to. So pay attention, folks. Pay attention. So our word for today is rebirth. And the number for the overall energy for today is 2. So we're having a rebirth in our partnerships. I think it's perfect for today's show. So with all that being said, again, share, like, and comment. I would love to know your feelings about our card for today and where you're showing up in regards to your rebirth and how you're being more compassionate towards yourself and others. With all that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when I come back, I'm going to have my 2 amazing guests coming in just a minute. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Joe Monkman, and I am a personal development trainer. And that means that I help people step into their leadership roles, take their place as a visionary, really understand their own mastery in the world so that they can really find their place at the buffet of life. And if you want to know more, you can find me on my Facebook page at Joe Monkman and joemonkman@gmail.com.
When you open yourself up to actual energy work, makes that recovery progress so much faster. That recovery is possible. You do not have to live as a victim until your last days. You have unbelievable strength, and I know that because you're still here. Do you want to create something completely unrecognizable with your life? I can show you how.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just popping on, I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne. And before I dive in to introduce my other guest here, let's just talk about that card, rebirth. Rebirth, it's a powerful one for today's energy. The overall date for today is 2. And when we talk about the number 2, it's about our partnerships, whether it's a friendship, whether it's an intimate relationship, or whether it's a relationship with your siblings, your parents, your neighbor, and even, guess what, the strangers in the street, because they're your partners too. And the number 3, how are we communicating? How are we listening? And I think it's so appropriate for today's show. And with that being said, I'm going to dive in and introduce you to Gail Nicholson, who is our resilience coach, metaphysical practitioner, and the host of the 3 Crones and the Woo Woo. And then we have our amazing volunteer here who's still sort of getting herself together. Our volunteer is Paula Tingley. So what we're doing today is we are doing a recap, a follow-up. Both of my guests were here about a month ago, I think to the date, if I'm not kidding. We're going to do a follow-up based off the emotional freedom technique. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the mic to Gail and let her explain what the emotional freedom technique is, and then go from there. So Gail, thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me again and again and again. I love coming on your show. Thank you so much for having me back.
I love having you here.
We make a good team, I think.
Yes, we do.
So emotional freedom technique. It is a system of tapping on the endpoints of the body's meridian system that was mapped out by the Chinese thousands of years ago. You know, they the same road map of the body that they use with acupuncture, we use with tapping, and a little bit less invasive. So we tap on the endpoints of certain meridians in the body with the intention of actually kind of blowing the circuit while you keep a traumatic thought in mind. And what that does is it pushes just enough energy through that meridian that it busts the connection, just like a fuse blows if you put a surge of energy through your house, right? And then what that does is it separates the emotional fuel behind that memory that causes the obsessive looping thoughts. It separates it out from the memory. So you retain the memory, but the emotional charge to it is no longer present. Therefore, you're freed up and can choose, as opposed to being, compelled to rethink the same thing or make actions based on that feeling. So that's essentially the basis of what we do. And every time that you've got like a traumatic situation, your brain, your mind will connect that with other thoughts. So for example, if you ask a woman who grew up in a 2-parent family where their parents loved each other and collaborated and cooperated and supported each other, what is love? She would have an association like anniversaries and wedding dresses and flowers and, candlelight dinners, right? But if you ask a woman who grew up watching her father or multiple men beat the crap out of her mother, and her mother take that person back again and again, and you ask that woman what is love, she's going to have a whole different world of associations with that. It's going to be trauma, it's going to be pain, it's going to be screaming, it's going to be crying. That's what love is, right? So that doesn't have anything to do with what the reality of love, right? So when we remove those emotional connections to that little grid, what ends up happening is this whole paradigm that we've created for ourselves around what love is supposed to be collapses, and we can actually see what love is in action and acknowledge it, feel it in the present moment. So that's just one example, but those types of things can happen in all kinds of different areas. Like, for example, you had a really mean female teacher in the second grade, and now you just cannot get it together on your team at work because you have a new female supervisor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that can happen all over your life. So that's what
Yes.
I do. I go in and I remove the emotional attachment to that original trauma, and then your whole life has the possibility of changing. So I'm really excited to find out what Paula's been experiencing in the last month after we did just a teeny tiny little demonstration activity with her a month ago.
Yes, yes. And before we dive into that, just to, bring in a comment here based on what you were just speaking about, the emotional freedom technique based on what love is, was coming in my head. I think we're going to need to bring you on during Valentine's Day because, there's lots of people during Valentine's season that either love Valentine's or doesn't. So think about that down the road.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Anytime.
Yes, because one of the things about me is I love to make sure we all heal from whatever we need to heal from. And I myself love Valentine's Day. So I would like the whole world to love Valentine's Day as much. And with Gail's amazing emotional freedom technique, the way she does it. Because I've experienced emotional freedom technique from many, many other practitioners, and there's something very special and unique about Gail's work. And we're going to get to find that out very shortly based on when she starts questioning Paula's experience that she's had. So again, Gail, take it away.
Well, Paula, actually, I want to kind of hand it to Paula. How has your been experience? First of all, remind everyone what it was that we were tapping on. What was the original trauma?
It was when my dad passed away. It was how he passed. He was kind of a man, should we say, thinking he can do what he want, how he wanted, and not listen to his doctors because he was invincible. He pulled a snowblower out of the basement when I asked him not to. My husband was going to go and take it out for him. And when he got it to the very top, it was instant. He just died right there, but he was left overnight outside all night. And that's the part that bothered me the most.
Yep, I got you. So for any of you viewers that are watching right now, and Joanne, you can probably attest to this, how Paula just described that situation is entirely shifted from when she originally talked to us about it about a month ago.
Oh, definitely.
Paula, what's your experience even talking about that situation now as opposed to a month ago?
Well, I actually was starting to feel a little stressed about it. I've been thinking a lot about him lately, and just talking about that made me feel a little bit stressed out. Not as bad as when I first told you, but I could definitely, I could feel the stress of it a little bit.
Okay, gotcha. Awesome. Have you noticed anything else shifting over the last few weeks? Your responses to other situations that may or may not seem attached to this at all?
No, I don't think so.
Not that you've noticed.
No, you're right. Not that I've noticed. I know work has been really crazy, so could have, but just not paying attention and just so busy with other things that I didn't pay attention.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Has there been, have you tapped on that since the last show, yourself individually?
No.
Okay, so we're still only working with what actually happened on air, right? And what time we had for that. Now, the the time that we had on that show was very short. I usually do about a 90 minute session.
Yeah, no, not 90 seconds.
Woo-hoo! Yeah, I just twinkle my nose. You're better. It's great.
There you go. That's how good she really is.
But no, I normally do a 90-minute session with the first contact with someone because of this phenomena that I like to call the Pez dispenser. Because once you deal with the issue that presents consciously first, and we start to get that out of the way, which we had the opportunity to move quite a bit, but We didn't get to go on to anything else. And the anything else, and why I call it the Pez dispenser, is because you remember those old Pez candy holders, right? You throw the head back and a little tart piece of candy comes up and you eat the tart piece of candy. And then a little while later, you throw the head back and another little tart piece of candy comes up and you pull that one out and eat it. Well, that's what this stuff is like sometimes, because you get the first issue and you start getting that one out of the way, and these other issues go, oh, so much more room to be expressed here now. Let's have it, right? And the secondary issues start coming up. So usually when I work with a person, I do the 90-minute session first so that we can catch any of these side issues coming up. Now, in how you were talking about it today, the earlier part of what you were talking about seemed to be a lot clearer emotionally until you got to the part where he was outside all night. And if Joanne recalls, and you recall, and any of the readers, watchers that were watching last month recall, we didn't tap on his not being found afterwards. We tapped on him having that situation coming up the stairs and dying, right? So these are actually two separate traumas in your being, in your brain, in your body. And we can see how that, since we haven't tapped on that second one yet, that's still causing you some anxiety. All right. So we can go through it and continue to tap on whatever else comes up out of this so that you're fully clear and clean about it. But we want to do that off screen, where you can say anything that you need to say and, be completely assured of confidentiality and privacy.
Yep.
Now, do you have any questions or anything that you noticed over the time period that you would want to mention?
No, I don't think so.
How about you, Joanne? Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I guess in regards to, like, for the viewers, that is based on the work that Paula has done with you last month on air, tapping into that one experience. What would be some of the things that she may not even be aware of that might have changed for her? Like, would it be the same for everybody, or is it very different? And if it is the same for everybody, or there's like some things that you can like pinpoint, what would those things be?
Well, it is different for everybody, because each individual person, comes to life with their own set of base operating system, likes, dislikes, and which way they're going to travel through life, right? So, say for example, Paula had an upbringing when she was very young in the church, right? Or even had a fascination with fairy tales that left in her a dutiful daughter message. Okay. So if she's programmed and conditioned with this dutiful daughter message, the fact that her father was outside for 24 hours before anyone found him would be deeply shameful to her, because she should have been there. She should have been taking care of him. That never should have happened. And if she was a good daughter, it wouldn't have. Don't take any of this. I'm not trying to stick this to you, Paula. I'm giving an example. Okay. That is not yours. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't belong to you. This is
I'm
totally
glad you
an example.
clarify that. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm glad you clarify that for her, because I started feeling that energy in her, like, oh no.
No, this is not yours. Do not pick it up. In fact, it's more of an example for me, because I did have that dutiful daughter stuff. Now, my dad passing was not the same situation at all. But the last 5 years that he was in a nursing home, and I was taking care of a toddler, it was very much a part of my life that I had to go to that nursing home at least 3 times a week and show up and help out. And, because I should have been taking care of him 24/7. Right. So that's how those things can be set up. Now, other people who were raised with different messages, or rather glommed onto different messages that anybody can pull out of the air in this society, right? Might have been like cause and effect, choice and consequence. He was told not to do that. He did it anyway. The fact that he was left out there is not my fault. I did what I could have done, and they would not be affected by that at all, right? It would be a different issue entirely. Maybe that person's got a service hook, right? So, I should have gone over there and taken care of snow blowing before that ever had a chance to happen. And then that's what we would tap on, is that need to be of service getting thwarted, and whatever the resulting emotional tie from that is. So you can see how the same exact situation may end up having an entirely different list of remedy vignettes to look at in tapping out where that was left in the person's being.
Now, what I'm curious regarding for Paula, when Gail asked you early on the show today, how you felt when you first came on the show a month ago to do the follow-up, and when you spoke about your experience, and then speaking about it today, were you able to feel a sense, the difference in how you spoke about it today versus the very first time?
Definitely.
Could you share with us what that was?
Yeah, the first part of talking about the actual situation that happened, of him taking the snowblower out, wasn't as stressful for me until it got to the part that he was outside all night.
Now, was that did you feel the same way when you spoke? Did you speak about that the last time? I'm almost remembering that you did speak about that the last time.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I think I was tearful through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yes. And now, do you remember from the last time to this time, like when you spoke about it now, about how your father was actually left, he wasn't found for 24 hours. How does that, when you've been hearing it from, like, even from me, how does that feel for you? How do you take that on right now?
I feel very stressful about it. Like it just kind of weighs. Because if I was there, maybe I could have did CPR. Maybe I could have called 911. Maybe I could have done something. They tell me no, it was instant, because he did have 2 or 3 stents. I can't remember how many right now, but he had stents in his heart, and it could have been just maybe the stent, like, I don't know, but maybe I could have done something. And I think that's the part that bothered me the most.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, one thing go ahead.
I've had several things that I have gone to. There was a medium that did a show, and my dad actually came through, and he said that there was nothing I could do. It just happened instantly, and the only reason why I knew it was him was because my dad loved ducks, and the guy kept saying, "Why is he saying Bob?" And he kept repeating it, and I'm like, "That's not what he's saying. He's quacking." Because he loved ducks, and he would do that all the time.
That's awesome.
So now after hearing that from the medium, did you feel any relief knowing that even with you being there, it wouldn't have changed the situation? You didn't feel any relief. You still felt the same way.
Yeah, and it was more so, even though I'm being told there was nothing I could do, it still didn't change the fact how I felt that I wasn't there to help.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, since working with Gail from last month and being back here for this follow-up, even though you haven't, like, from your awareness, you're not sure if you've actually feel a difference, but like, do you feel as though you're sleeping better? than you were before since working with Gail and doing the emotional freedom technique?
Well, sleep didn't really bother me. I mean, I get hot anyway, so I exercise when I sleep, blankets on, blankets off, Um,
Gotta find that happy medium with just enough leg outside of the blanket.
exactly.
And it's really funny, just to talk about that really quickly on why so many women tend to place their foot outside or their leg outside the blanket when they're having a hot flash. And just food for thought, and I'm going to come back to the topic, is because we have a lot of pressure points in our foot that is connected to our hormones. And by them being out, it does create a relief in our hormonal system. So there's something to be said about that.
Thanks for that information.
Yes.
So back to topic.
Yeah.
So yes, so Gail, I'm sure you have more to ask Paula regarding this experience.
Yeah. I was gonna say something and I forgot about what it was exactly. Here we go. So this is really, really interesting to point out, okay? Because like Paula was just saying, even the medium told her dad's coming through and you could not have changed anything. He would still have passed away, right? That still didn't make her feel any better, right? And I could sit here and I could talk to you about a family that I knew. The son, I dated the son. The son went to college to become a nurse. His mother was a nurse. His father had a heart attack watching TV in the den, and with both of them working over him, could not save him. There are just some heart attacks that are considered widow makers, right? And still, that is not going to help you feel any better. Because what's really at work here is that moment that you went, oh, I should have been there. I could have held his hand. It's not that he passed. It's that he died alone. And that is so very painful. I'm sorry, sweetheart. So what I want you to know, what I want you to know right now is that when we're done with the show, I'm sending you a scheduling link. You are getting a 90-minute session with me at no cost to you because I refuse to leave you in this space. Okay?
Well, on that note, why don't we take a quick commercial break? But before we do so, Gail, just let the viewers know how they can reach you.
Sure. You can always reach me at gailnicholson.com. Also on Facebook at G2Nicholson. That's my main profile. And watch me on 3 Crones in the Woo.
There you go, which takes place every Tuesday live, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. It's an amazing, but even funnier show. It's so damn funny. You laugh from the minute they start to the minute they end. Laugh, laugh, laugh. You might even pee your pants. So
bring the depends.
Yes. Paula, would you like to let our viewers know how they can reach you?
Paula
Are you open
Tingley?
to that right now?
Sure. Paula Tingley, my email is lptingley@comcast.net, and I'm on Facebook.
Awesome. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break so we can get some water. So can you. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Nick Rafter, journalist, writer, editor. I'm happy to be offering copy editing and line editing services at competitive industry rates. If you have a book or any document that needs to be edited and thoroughly looked through, please contact me at nickrafter@gmail.com. Let's discuss how to get that work done. That's Nick Rafter, NICKRAFTER, @gmail.com. I hope to hear from you soon.
guys, welcome. We are back on the Author Sports. I am so excited to be here with my co-host Anastasia. How you doing, girl?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am good. It's so good to see you again. We don't get to see each other very often. We might have to do this every week, you know? Tonight we are also talking with, we've got
Hi guys, I'm Kendrick Cortez Greer, personal astrologer and astrological counselor here in Brooklyn, New York. I've been an astrologer for over 23 years now, providing astrological readings, counseling sessions, workshops, and corporate events all throughout the tri-state area. I've been very blessed and lucky to have clients all throughout the United States and beyond. If you're interested in a reading that is warm, heartfelt, honest, and conducive to speaking to one of your best friends, please contact me at 917-863-7528. You can also email me at kendrickstar@gmail.com. That's Kendrick, STAR, @gmail.com. And for you Insta people, find me on Instagram at Kendrick Cortez Astrology. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Toodles.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and I have my amazing two guests here. I have Gail Nicholson, who is our resilience coach, our metaphysical practitioner, and the host of the Three Crones and the Woo Woo, and then our amazing volunteer, Paula Tingley. Now, if you are just showing up now and you missed the early part of the show, I ask that you definitely come back later and watch, because it was quite emotional, as it always is. But anyway, we're gonna tune back into what we were just chatting about. And I'm gonna hand the mic over to Gail. So Gail, take it over.
Okay. So Paula,
At least for final thoughts.
yeah. I'm like, at least give me a question I can answer.
All right, let's go with a question. You want a question? I'll give you a question. Let's do questions now. We'll turn this to a Q&A.
Okay.
In response to what took place for Paula just now, and the fact that you were just so generous to offer her that 90-minute complimentary session, which I think is amazing. And Paula, I do believe after you work with Gail on this experience that you have going on, I do believe you're gonna definitely feel a lot different and better. Now, for Gail, based on what Paula's experience and what just experienced online with us right now, how do you react to that? How do you feel about that? Like, what is your reaction?
When I'm talking about someone's situation and it brings them to tears.
Yes, like, you know, like, what does that feel for you?
In this particular setup right here, the first thing is compassion and empathy and sympathy, and you know, my heart just goes out to you, right? And I think that should be anybody's normal first level reaction, right?
Yes.
But when I'm in the midst of tapping somebody, right, and they start getting tears, or they start, their tummy starts rumbling and they start burping, or they start yawning, those are like gold stars to me, because we're getting at a level of something that is not word-based. It's all images, feelings, emotions, which shows me that we're in communication with the subconscious, where all of this stuff is locked. So those are all like way showers that we're doing good work here. We're on the right track. So
now I also get, as you're saying what you're saying, and based on Paula's experience from the first part of the show, what I was really feeling from Paula was that those tears that showed up, I really felt that those were healing tears. That perhaps it's probably the first time. Yes, she's probably cried hundreds of times prior to today's show based on a different type of feeling, but I feel like today's tears was more of a healing experience. Now, of course, I'm going to turn this over to Paula and ask Paula, is what I was feeling, is that accurate, or is that just something I'm just thinking it was?
I think some of it, it's really hard when you're dealing with a loss. I think there's different levels. There's acceptance because somebody passed. Like that's a given. You're not seeing them anymore or every day and taking care of them and whatever it was that your relationship was. In my dad's case was I was there just about every day or every other day taking care of him, making sure he had his medicines laid out correctly for the week and changing them, cooking him meals, making sure he's okay, making sure when he would go for a walk in the woods that he would take a cell phone, which he refused to. He was a very stubborn man. Yeah, stubborn man. So it's grieving has no boundaries. There's no time limit. It's even when you accept it, it just doesn't seem real because that person has maybe been in your life your whole life, especially when it's a parent or a spouse who's been there, a lot longer too. So it's different for everybody. All I can say is if you're dealing with somebody who has a significant loss like that, is don't tell them to get over it because it's really hard. And my dad, his wife had passed, I think 4 or 5 years before he did. And I believe part of his problem was he had a broken heart. Not only his own heart issues, but I believe he had a broken heart. He would cry every single day. It didn't matter what it was. It was just, he would try to smile and put on a brave face. And he would say, why can't I get over her? So it's different for everybody.
Yes.
You find that there's many older couples that have been together for 40, 50 years, or even less than that, but they are their entire lives together. And when one goes, the other one will follow within a year because they just cannot navigate the world without that frequency vibration in their life. My foster parents were like that. And she cried every day after he passed until she finally passed too. It's so sad, but it's so beautiful.
Yes.
Too.
Yes.
And
sometimes too, from my experiences, when a couple is together, for as long as they're together, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever not, and one does pass and one's still here, sometimes the one that's still here may physically be here, but they have died inside. And the whole process of them going through life is just basically going through life now because they've literally lost they literally lost their other part to keep them going. So again, I think for our viewers, I think one of the takeaways for today's show is, to pay attention to your loved ones, especially if you have lost a parent and your other parent's still here. Try to fill them up as much as you can to bring more life into them as well. Because as long as they're physically here, just because they're physically here, they might very well have felt that they died inside and just waiting for their call to go home so they can rekindle and reconnect with their loved one. So I think that's a part of the takeaway for today, on that. And Gail, for you, regarding the emotional freedom technique, for our viewers, like what would be, because last month you had an opportunity to demonstrate the emotional freedom technique. What would be one tip you can give our viewers that are definitely going to go back and watch last month's show? What would be one tip that you can give them upon them literally tapping through in regards to, before they decide to reach out to you? What's that one tip you can leave them with?
Well, if there's something that every time you think of it, all of a sudden your physiology changes, whether it's instantaneous rage, whether it's emotional distress, being distraught, or subtly sudden numbness. Like not your hands fell asleep numbness, but like you don't feel anything. Those are really good flags to see there's something here that is going to hijack my choice. Okay? Even if I make the right choice, it'll come out sideways. Law of attraction work comes out sideways. All right? So those are really good places to start. Go through and write down, you know, a short little name for that. You know, like the time my brother broke my bike chain, the time I was playing at the park and saw a puppy get run over by a car, the time, you know, like a Friends episode, the time that happened, right? And then go through the process with yourself and keep your mind focused on the bad thing. You know, a lot of times in law of attraction work and new age thought, they're all about, you know, keep your thoughts positive and, you know, don't internalize a negative thought because, you know, that's a bad thing. In this particular work, you want to hold the bad thing in mind so that you can shatter the emotional and energetic system that's holding it in place.
Yes.
And
awesome.
that sometimes can be the hardest part.
Yes. And just an FYI for our viewers. Now, yes, Gail has just given you an amazing tip that, you know, once you go and watch last month's episode and you try it on yourself, she gave you an amazing tip. But here's another amazing tip. Reach out to Gail because I myself have tried tapping. You know, after Gail and I have done work in the past, and after I've done some work with other practitioners, and I've said and I've tried to do it on my own, and I turn around, I take a deep breath, and I get frustrated. I'm like, yeah. I highly recommend. I truly, truly believe that there are some healing techniques that you can do on your own and be very successful with them. But then there are some healing techniques that you do need support, because I know firsthand that when you get to that point of getting to that deeper point, you're not going to push yourself beyond that. You're going to stop. And that's where Gail comes in, because Gail is going to take you to that point that you would have stopped. And I speak from experience because, again, as a healer, I know that when I work with my clients, they'll stop. And that's where healers help us push through where we have to go to. So again, yes, try it out on your own. I always like to give tips. I always like our healers to provide tips as well. But please, please, please reach out to Gail once you've tried it on your own and see what kind of, the word that comes to my mind is magic, that Gail will do with you and help you push through. Because when you are dealing with emotions, if there is an emotion that is stuck, that emotion will very well prevent you from moving into your greatness and your brilliance. And I know Gail can definitely help you shift that like that by doing work with her. I promise you, I personally guarantee this is a highly recommended testimony for Gail. And I'm not just saying it because Gail's here.
Wow.
I'm saying it because she's amazing at the work she does. But I am suggesting that, yes, go and try it out. Go try out the tip that Gail suggested, but then reach out to her, because you're going to get to that deeper point where you're not going to be able to do it by yourself. You're just not. And I know it for a fact because I've tried it. And I'm a healer. I do this work. And I had to reach out. And that's just what it is. So with that being said, Paula, do you have any final words for our viewers that you might want to leave them with?
No, I don't.
No, not today? Okay, awesome, awesome. So Gail, one last time, let our viewers know how they can reach you, because they're gonna want to.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the kind words too. You are more right than you know, because what tends to happen to people is they get to a certain part where it's no longer safe to go it alone, and their brain starts making fog.
Yes.
So I'm there to shine a light through the fog.
Exactly.
Okay. So reach out to me at gailnicholson.com or on Facebook at G2 Nicholson, spelled just like Jack. And watch Three Crones in the Woo Woo on Tuesdays.
Yes, yes. And Paula, let them know how they can reach you as well.
LP Tingley at Comcast.net and on Facebook.
Awesome. All right. So for our viewers, and I'm not sure, Gail, would you like to offer another raffle winning?
Yes, but this time I would like to offer a 1 hour tarot reading.
I knew you were going to say that.
I've been having so much fun with it. Thank you for making me pull that back out of the closet.
Yay! Yes.
We've been having a great time.
Yes, and I'm going to give another testimony here. Another one, quick one. And this one is so recent because I just had the pleasure of having a tarot card reading with Gail. And oh my God, the cards that showed up, the insight that she provided, oh my God, is all I got to say. So whoever gets to win this week's raffle, kudos for you guys, because you're gonna love the work that she does with you with her readings. I've had a lot of tarot card readings in the past, and that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. So with that being said, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and I'll be back with the conclusion of today's show. We'll be right back.
Hi everyone, I'm Natan Bredbury. I'm a veteran, Kabbalist, mystic, coach, and spiritual mentor. I have been blessed to help many students on their spiritual journey over the last 20 years. I am currently the founder of the Mystic Warrior Academy, and what we're doing is we're helping veterans heal from the inside out, overcome any sort of emotional trauma that they've been through. So if you're a veteran, a therapist, or a coach, and are interested in learning more about our program, you can contact us directly at info@mysticwarrioracademy.com. Blessings.
When you open yourself up to actual energy work, makes that recovery progress so much faster. That recovery is possible. You do not have to live as a victim until your last days. You have unbelievable strength, and I know that because you're still here. Do you want to create something completely unrecognizable with your life? I can show you how.
Did you know that astrology and numerology influences your metabolism and weight? Hello, I'm Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, your certified holistic personal trainer, intuitive healer, cosmic energy reader, student of astrology, master of numerology, and the creator of the Chakra Balance Numerology Cosmic Energy Forecast Stack. And I help women and men by referral release issues from their tissues while releasing emotional weight and falling in love with themselves. As I witness the transformation of watching each client become the best version of who they are. To redeem your first discovery session at 10% off, email healingwithin76@gmail.com. I do look forward to helping you release your issues from your tissues and falling in love with yourself. Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, share, like, and comment, and you're gonna have to come back and watch today's show. Since we are in the final end of today's show, you missed an amazing follow-up between Paula and Gail. Gail, a month ago, did an amazing emotional freedom technique session with Paula, and today they spoke about it. So definitely go ahead and watch on Roku or YouTube, or come back and watch it here, whichever way, whatever the case is. And now we do have a raffle winner from last week's show, and that raffle winner is Linda Boney. I'm just trying to remember what the heck she won. Oh, there she goes. Yeah, I'm like, what the heck did she win? I believe she won. What did she win? I don't think I wrote it down. This is so funny. What did she win? Linda Boney. I don't know. I believe she won a session with Joe Monkman, a intuitive healing session. Now, if I'm wrong on that, I'll correct myself later, but I believe that's what she won. So congratulations to Linda Boney. And for those of you who watched today's show, remember to share, like, and comment, because then you'll have an opportunity to win a tarot card reading with Gail Nicholson. And believe me when I say, Monkman, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, he has a spirit message group, which is an amazing, amazing group. So definitely come join us, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, every Wednesday night. All you have to do is reach out to him, view the flyer for information, and come join us then. And let's see, do we have any other information here? Let's see, we already spoke about our, guest and advertising packages. Those of you who want to get in front of a larger and different group of people, I am running a special $55 per episode based on a 3-month package. So if you want to take advantage of that, email healingwithin76@gmail.com and check out the author's porch in reference to it, where every good conversation starts. So all that being said, just a quick reminder, next Sunday is the 4th of July. So we won't be meeting next Sunday, but definitely go and check out past episodes, Roku, YouTube, or even here, and do a marathon of episodes. You definitely want to. This way you can get caught up. So with all that being said, have yourself an amazing rest of the day, and I will see you all in 2 weeks. Bye-bye for now. Oh, before we dive off, one last thing to remind you. I will be on my radio show the first Wednesday in July, and I have the 3 Crones and the Woo Woo showing up for my radio show. So come check me out then. There's a flyer. I'm excited to have the 3 Crones and the Woo Woo on the radio show, Joanne's Cosmic Energy Radio Show. Same platform, guys. I'll see you all next week. Bye-bye for now.